losses aren't charities. Why is this happening now?
Well, these companies are coming under enormous pressure to address what's going on in the general environment. I mean, we are facing the perfect storm right now, based on the cost of living crisis, what's happening with energy and bills at home, and of course what's happened in the last 10 days from government, which has completely taken the markets by surprise. So what happens to big supermarket chains is that they've got three things that they control. One is they're going after more sales. The other is to protect their margin. And the third is to look at their cost base. Now, in an environment where people are strapped for cash, it's going to be the big guys that really come out with all guns blazing, like Tesco, and say, look, we're going to look after you customers in a very difficult environment. We're going to look after our staff and make sure that they've got the right wages in place. And they're going to put pressure on their supplier base to make sure they keep prices as low as they can. And the main reason for that is that they've got to protect the top line sales. If any of these companies lose 1%, 2% or 3% of top line sales, they will fall into very difficult troubles.
Can I add one thing to that list? And I'm going to come to the supply chain in a moment because that's crucial. But one thing before that is they've also, however nice they want to be and social conscience and all of that, they've got to keep their shareholders sweet, turn a profit and pay a dividend.
Well, they do. And I think Tesco have demonstrated over the years that they can do that. You mentioned Iceland at the front of this piece. They don't have to do that. They don't have shareholders. It's owned by a family. They can take decisions. It's a private company. It's not under public scrutiny like Tesco is. Asda is now a private company. Morrison's has just been taken private through CD&R, a private equity company. And of course, those models are really desperate to get cash into their system because they've bought them with leveraged debt. So you've got these dynamics going on in the background against a situation where the general public is faced with huge problems with managing their budgets. Their mortgages are going up because of what's happened in the last 10 days. Their energies have been capped, but it's still at a very high price. They're getting a tax rebate, but it's going to be offset by other things. So at the end of the day, what is going to be the available disposable income for the masses? It's going to be probably a bit lower. So what do the big guys do? They come out all guns blazing to protect their top line. And I see people like Tesco and Asda as winners. I see Morrison's probably as a loser. Aldi and Lidl certainly as winners. Iceland, well, it's a smaller player, I think the managing director of Iceland said the other day, was he concerned about the competition from Lidl? And he said, no, I'm more concerned about the competition from food banks. Yeah. Well, that's a very serious statement to make. So it's an interesting, challenging time to see what happens. But I think I'm safe in saying this, that everything will happen in this marketplace to keep prices as low as possible in order to go for top line sales.
Which takes me to my final point. You raised it earlier. I promised I'd come back to it. If you're a farmer or any part of the supply chain delivering your goods, your product to supermarket shelves, it's a blooming tough existence. This means, lovely as it is for consumers, it's going to get even tougher for suppliers.
Yes, I think it will. But the old adage is you've got to make sure there's enough oxygen in the supply chain for everybody to survive, because, the big guys need those products to come through. So it's a fine balance. But yes, they will come under huge pressure.